Yo, well, this is actually very interesting, and I really wanted to get this video off like as we're getting into market close. I didn't trade today, just day before NFP. It's a rule that I have. It usually saves me some chop. Obviously, the start of the session today was choppy, and then we actually did get a sell. And I initially I did like the sell, but um, I just liked where it sold from. But overall weight of the sell, I'm a little iffy on, and I'm a little iffy on where it's closing. And especially this last 5 minutes into close, I think is very, very telling. Look at all these buys coming in. Look at that. Like we have a ton of buying coming in right now, and it's really like it's a lot of, obviously it's market on close, so there's a lot of volume going both ways, but there's a lot of buys being filled as limits basically. So there's a lot of buyers just filling their limits right here. So this looks like a level that they're trying to hold. It's actually very interesting from a number of different standpoints. 73.50 to 73.40 is now from a GEX level. It is a put wall. There is basically zero DTE, so that's zero day till expiry options. There is essentially just like a ton of sellers below. It starts, a lot of sellers begin to go into profit below that, so you're going to look for price to actually hold that at least during cash session. But I believe that it still affects futures overnight and stuff, so you're still going to have a lot of players kind of having their entries right around here. A lot of buyers basically trying to support 73.40, 73.45 mainly. That is like a key level of support. But also, we're going to look at a lot at NQ now, and I know a lot of you guys trade NQ, and yeah, it's definitely getting interesting for sure. I have some projections for ES on what I think is going to happen. Again, I'm going back to the mentality of if this holds, then here's where we could go from there. That has served me the best. So I'm not going to say this is exactly what's going to happen, but if this level holds, if 73.45 holds overnight, then I believe we're actually looking at possibly as high as 74.50. Do I think that's going to happen tomorrow? I don't think so. I don't know. It is NFP, but I think the pain trade right now, based on what you can see by the masses on X especially, is up. There's still way too many people in disbelief, that are just like seething at the bit for, this market to absolutely dump. And while a lot of them have turned into bulls, they've, and myself, I definitely questioned myself yesterday, but yeah, look at that 1.1K lots bought. Yeah, I hope this doesn't launch too quickly. We do have, I think, more earnings and stuff. Yeah, look at it. NQ's already going. Yeah, because I would love to, if this level holds, I'd love to be long from this area during Asia and ride it up. Damn, yeah, it might go without us after hours. So we'll have to see what kind of retest we get. Wow, look at that. Yeah. So a lot of that buying right before close. I'm curious what earnings came out. Yeah, I hope this doesn't completely rocket off because, I would love to be a part of what I think is going to be a pretty big overnight move. Wow, oh my goodness. Well, yeah, you saw it. This is live, so yeah, I would have. Of course, this is after hours, right? You just murdered people through all this chop, and I mean, yeah, it is earnings, but yeah. So look at this. This is what we see on NQ. This really interests me. A 5 minute? Yeah, we are. Oh, wait, no, no, no. Where is it? There's a huge bump. I might be missing it actually. It's on NQ. Ah, there it is. Okay, look at that right there. 28,600. That is a strong bid. So mainly we see an aggressive seller and aggressive buyer basically standing off. Essentially, you have 245 lots sold. Could be a stop, I don't know. But 145 lots bought. That is definitely a buy at the lows. And then you see some defense, another couple big orders here and here. But 154 orders bought at the lows on NQ. is a statement. And then look at this. You have another aggressive attempt. Again, could be a stop out. I don't know. Buyers being forced to sell out of their position as it gets stopped. I don't know. But that is an aggressive market order print right there, and nothing. That's the main thing. This is why order flow is so great, because you can see where these aggressive orders are being placed within these candles. And then you can say, okay, what happened after that? So you have an abnormally large buy at the lows. I think it was Tesla. Did Tesla report today? I'll have to check. And then you have no continuation, no follow through. Look at this again. Mega selling at the lows. No follow through. Only buying support, and the buyer filling out a little bit there. Some more big market buys into there. And then that level holds. And then you don't really see 600 again. And then look at this. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Gone. Yep. So this is, again, I'm not going to say for sure, because there's always Iran news and stuff. And coincidentally, this big sell-off, I think, was because I think Iran said that it was the UAE that attacked them, in response for Iran attacking the UAE. So the war is still much on in the Middle East. And I think more people are realizing, oh, this isn't just between Iran and the U.S. anymore. It is between Iran and the U.S.'s allies in the Middle East there. That is more important. Israel, no matter what the Pentagon does, even though I believe the Pentagon, they're not leaving anytime soon in my mind. But Israel, this can of worms has been open, and Israel is not about to close it. Like before I don't know what happens. I don't want to make any predictions on that front. Leave that to Professor Jang and stuff. But yeah, same thing on ES, 73.40, 73.45, big sells into the lows and no continuation. Look, all these big sells into the lows. This is your sign of a reversal right here. It is day before NFP, so I'm kind of glad that I wasn't trading. I was locked out for this because I might have taken kind of the first, I might have taken many attempts. Sure, I would have gotten a few good entries, but it would have been annoying seeing it continuously come back down to my entry and having to game out whether I should hold it or not. So yeah, I don't mind missing all that. I'm hoping I don't miss anything on this front in terms of what I think will be an overnight squeeze again. But yeah, I'm projecting out of here. We see key open. This is a new 4-hour open. There's an SMT. This is the most recent key open where there's an SMT. So we're taking that, ignoring all others because, yeah, sure, there is. Why is that there? Yeah, there is an SMT. You see with these lows that ES took. Oops. Whereas the same lows NQ did not take. I'm still very wary of that. But yeah, I'm like that is a larger time frame SMT. I guess the main for the bearish SMT. Yeah, everyone's going to point out that NQ made a higher high than ES, and that is a large time frame SMT. Yeah, that was good for this sell. But now there's another SMT at the lows. There's a bullish SMT. We care about the more recent one, and in more importance, we care about the close. So where's the daily going to close on this sell? Initially, it looked like it was going to be a fairly strong close lower. But again, the way this is looking, you're going to see people coming in here pointing out the way this candle looks for sure. Oh, yeah, as if they didn't get murked the first time down there. They're going to point this out. If 73.40 holds, I'm projecting based off this my standard deviation strategy on the manipulation leg that creates SMT there. So see, you have just slightly lower low, but it is a slight lower low. That's a crappy circle. There we go. And this is again on the key open on the new 4-hour open at 2 o'clock Eastern time. So if that holds, this is messy. I would prefer it makes that SMT and then breaks, closes above, and then we hold. But if this midpoint now holds, if 73.60 holds, kind of, which also lines up with this golden pocket that I've marked out on this recent, swing low to high. So if that holds, projecting that there's a squeeze overnight, the messiest scenario for this would be this area just holds and we just get horrific price action overnight. Just lots of chop again day before NFP. This big data comes out pre-market tomorrow. So for the market to move excessively overnight would actually surprise me. It would have to be on news. So we have we get news, something, I don't know what it is, but Iran news, big news that would literally just take us, and we would go like that overnight. Not as simply, but we'd get a squeeze into data tomorrow. Or we get the data around here and the data turns out to be good, and then we finish off again in this area, 74.55, 74.50, where that would be nearing the top of my box on on SPX. That would take us around here. Yeah, same. It's about the same on SPX. So very, very important that we, from a selling mentality, I've marked this out. This is a large time frame, extended kind of range that should be like the end of this extension, essentially, is what this box is. I was more hopeful it was going to sell from down here, but of course, in this market, I should have expected that this is not going to be just an easy top to nail. They're going to bait sellers many times. And then, once they're finally all deceased and their counts are empty, then they will let the market sell. So it makes sense that we're going to see one more bid from this area. Again, if we had closed below 73.40, I would have been looking for just any retest and sell lower, gap down, whatever. But because we closed so strongly and we closed above a key level on both indices, we closed above those the seller's main attempts at 28,600 sells, and that buyer came in, stepped in strongly. Because we closed well above there and we closed well above 73.45, I cannot say for sure that we can just simply retest and somewhere in this range and then sell lower. I think that, again, it's going to be a crowded trade. There's going to be a lot of people that try and do that, and they're going to get absolutely wiped. So yeah, I would just be cautious trading day before NFP. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. Be cautious trading like just the session before NFP, so Asia and London tonight. But that, just so you know, from an order flow mentality or perspective, from that data, that is where your buyer is. 28. I'm just gonna look. I believe this is them right there. 28. Oh, wrong one. 28. Yeah, 28,600. Strong buys. Anything above that, you're good. Below that is a cliff. Like I said, from the GEX point of view, mega put wall and mega negative GEX below there. But yeah, above I think is very key. It's going to hold, and yeah, look at these big buys. So I expect all of this to hold, and for it to just again squeeze sellers tomorrow, and them to just finally give up all hope on sells. We're going to end up somewhere in this range. I don't know whether it'll be tomorrow or next week. I believe we're going to end up in this range at minimum before CPI. CPI is Tuesday, I believe. Let's take a look. Click. Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. So I believe no matter what happens, tomorrow and blah, 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 I believe now this is going to be the area to sell. Similarly to what I was saying earlier, but I'm using this as experience, basically, where I still, even though some things didn't check my box, I was still so married to sells that I was only looking for sells and ignored the squeeze end of day. So I'll be watching basically for 70. So if this holds, if we see 73.45 hold, if we see 28,600 hold, key levels, I will be looking. I have it mainly mapped out on ES. I think tech is at the end of its role. I think chips are burnt out. Tesla, historically, every time without fail, I swear, you can challenge me on that. Don't sue me if I'm wrong, but I'm so certain that from the previous tops that I've seen, Tesla is the last one to pump. So, and Tesla, sure enough, let's take a look here. Tesla, oh, right there. Yeah, Tesla's up 3.5% today. Yeah, sorry, no earnings on Tesla. It must have been something else. Oh, did they have earnings? It should say there. Oh, maybe they did have earnings. Anyways, oh yeah, they did. Yeah, they pumped after earnings. There you go. Tesla pump after earnings, or Tesla pumped into earnings. Yeah, it looks like, and then right after a little bit, but it's kind of flat after hours. So it pumped into the end of day and just kind of stayed there. Looks like, what am I seeing here? Yeah, 36% growth year over year. China output growth, which is kind of shocking to me. I mean, it's not huge improvement on their China output, but it is just shocking to me just because of the level of quality and price in China for their electric cars. The competition there is insane. But anyways, so yeah, Tesla's the last thing to pump, basically without fail. So I believe tech is getting near the end. So I'd be mapping out, you could map out basically the same range, standard deviation of the same level that we put on ES. Although when I map it out on the indice that doesn't create the SMT, I never find it's as accurate. So I will be looking for, look at how this 3.5 lines up right in the TR pocket. So that'll be the first area I look to fail, 29, 0, kind of, I would say 0.60 area. So right in there, I'd look for it to fail. If it's really going to extend, yeah, I'll look at the 4.5, 240s, but I care more about ES, and I'll be looking at wherever NQ is when ES is hitting anywhere from 7,445 to 7,458. That is my area that I'll be looking to sell. And if tech has had an insane run, so tech might fall harder. We'll see. I'll be watching the tape for sure, and that is when I will take a look at taking another sell. But in here, because of the way we closed, I'm not looking for a retest and sell below. Like I said on X, I would rather, if I'm wrong about this prediction, if we don't actually squeeze overnight or into tomorrow, into next week, and we actually continue to dribble and fall, I will take any sells on retest below 73.40. And similarly 28,600. Anything below those levels, retest and offer below, I'll take that. I'll chase that sell any day of the week. But anything in here in between, no, not going to happen. I think you'll just get squeezed out into higher. Yeah, I think that about nails it. I just really wanted to point that out. I did say in the chat that there was some strong bid at 28,600 and 73.40 area, 73.45 I think I said. So I said, be very wary of trying to look for continued shorts above that level. So yeah, I just want to give out that warning, show what I've seen on the tape, because I love the options I'm presented with. I love, having the levels of pivot of if above do this, if below do that. I think that is just the best way to trade. So anyways, good luck tomorrow. Stay safe. NFP notoriously kills account, so trade delicately. Trade with your fib, trade with, in your optimal trade entries, fib, golden pocket entries. Don't chase anything because the chop can kill so many traders. You really just want the best entries that you can possibly get. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, and yeah, it should be interesting. Okay, bye.